Yes, sir. Gives you the value of teamwork, plus how to be a good sport. And who knows, you might knock one over the fence. No, not this time. Well, you can't win 'em all. Or maybe you like to take hikes. Whether you do or not, there's one that everybody at Holy Trinity makes eventually. The 2-mile hike to the sand dunes that takes you past the Blessed Trinity Shrine. It's the old Negro cabin which served as a chapel and home for Father Judge when he first came here. It's not much to look at these days, but it's very dear to the heart of every Trinity missionary. For here long ago, the founder of the Trinity Missionaries began his work. This white-haired priest on the left, Father Thomas Augustine Judge, spent many hours of prayer in the humble little chapel, begging God's blessing on his effort to lead many to a knowledge and love of the faith that filled his own heart. And now that chapel in the wilderness has become a symbol to the young seminarian as he continues on the hike that afternoon. He suddenly realizes more clearly why the path of a Trinity missionary is the path he must follow. Like Father Judge, he wants to be a pioneer for Christ. Maybe that's the answer he's been looking for. Maybe you have to be a pioneer to be truly close to Christ. Father Judge needn't have come to this once harsh and hostile country to serve God, any more than a few years ago our young seminarian needed to get up on that cold winter's morning and trudge through the snow to serve Mass, except that they both felt called upon and recognized the caller's voice as Christ's. And so now, along the banks of a river called the Chattahoochee, the paths of the gray-haired priest and the young altar boy meet at last. For both are pledged to walk in the footsteps of Christ, and the way for each must be the same. Back at St. Joseph's that night, dreams of his future as a missionary servant of the Most Holy Trinity are running through our young seminarian's mind. As he sits at a desk in the recreation hall writing a letter home, for the first time in his life, he seems to be able to put into words why he feels the way he does about God and what he intends to do about it. And as he writes, he looks ahead to the day when he will complete his studies in the preparatory seminary and be ready to receive his religious habit, the event that will mark the beginning of his year in the novitiate, that period of special training in the spiritual life in preparation for his first profession of the vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. What a thrilling moment that will be. From that instant, he will be truly a religious, a person apart from the world, yet dedicated to the work of bringing the world to God. Father Damien, the novice master, will come out onto the altar of the novitiate chapel and move to the epistle side of the altar to bless the new habit which the young seminarian will soon be wearing. The young candidate rises to approach the altar. This is the moment toward which he has worked and prayed for so long. This is to be his habit as a missionary servant of the Most Holy Trinity, a black habit with a military collar to remind him that he is a soldier of Christ. And as he crosses to where Father Damien is waiting to invest him in the uniform of the missionary servant, he glimpses at last the full significance of what it means to be a Trinity missionary. He sees that in trading his suit coat for a religious habit and in assuming the new name of another heavenly patron, he willingly gives up whatever worldly honors or possessions might be his. Henceforth, he will be dedicated entirely to Christ. He will be missionary to the neglected, servant of the poor, ambassador of the holy and adorable Trinity. And as he receives the lighted candle, symbol of faith, he will sense a happiness known only to those who love God completely, for only God can fill man's heart. He recalls the words of St. Paul, "I live now, not I, but Christ liveth in me." Here at the foot of the altar, the future missionary thanks God for his vocation, for this great blessing given to him and to his family. He prays that he may grow in virtue and learning, to be worthy of that day not too far distant now, when he will be ordained to the holy priesthood as a missionary servant of the Most Holy Trinity. Serious thoughts. And yet, there is really nothing unusual about this boy. He simply loves God with his whole heart and wants to serve him that way. He could be from Boston or Chicago or New York or San Francisco. He could be a fellow from your own neighborhood, or maybe even the boy sitting right next to you now. He could be you.